This module began with a nod to the ancient Stoic philosophers Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. I chose the Stoic philosophers because they were the first ones who taught the world that if you don't like how you feel, well, change how you think. It's not that they were anti-emotion. It's more that they understood that the passions that drove people could get them into big trouble if they didn't know how to control them. They also understood that with the mind, the rational mind, the logical, the thinking mind, that people could learn to become masters of their own emotional life. This is not very different from what you learned in the module when you studied Schachter and Singer and their two-factor theory of the causes of emotions. Remember, they were the ones who said that when we are aroused, sometimes we might misattribute that arousal to another reason. And that was the study that you saw where the Capilano Bridge, there were two bridges, and one was a shaky one and the other one was a shorter, sturdy one that didn't shake. And then the subjects would cross the bridge and they were interviewed by or stopped by a young woman. Go back to that and take a look at that, because that's an interesting study that shows that it is true that what we think, how we appraise and evaluate a situation can make a difference in what it is that we're feeling. You also learned about the slow and the fast pathways for the emotions and the role of the thalamus. I like to think of the thalamus as the taxi dispatch dude who either sends the signals the slow way, so it takes a little bit longer, but it has to be processed by the prefrontal cortex. Then you have an opportunity to put some distance between the impulse that you feel and what you actually end up saying or doing. Or the fast way, which is when the thalamus sends the impulses directly down to the limbic brain, i.e. the amygdala, and there's an immediate emotional response. If you need to get out of the way of an oncoming car, you don't want to stop and think about it. You want to jump out of the way. And so obviously there is an evolutionary reason for having these two pathways. The fast pathway is what helps us survive. You also learned about Yak Panksepp, the rat tickler, the neuroscientist who began the work of what we call affective neuroscience, which is really remarkable when you think about it, because up until then, all we could really see was what parts of the brain were lighting up when we were feeling an emotion. But now, with his work, because of his work, we know that there are primal emotions that are felt by all mammals. So from the bunny rabbit to the rat to the primates to us, we all share these same basic brain systems or emotional systems deep in our limbic brain. And that discovery in and of itself is really mind-blowing if you stop to think about it. If people share all of these basic primal emotions with animals, that has the potential to revolutionize the way we think about our relationship with animals. The importance of our emotional life cannot be underestimated, and you will see this theme in many of the upcoming modules. Emotions have helped our species survive, and even before we had language, we could intuit or imagine the emotions and therefore the mind of another. Because we can feel what somebody else is feeling, we have a window into their mind. Later on in this course, you will have the opportunity to learn about mirror neurons. And those are the neurons that help us imagine and understand what somebody else is feeling and thinking, whether that be a person in front of us or an actor on the screen. Emotions influence the way we perceive the world, the way that we react to stimuli, and the way that we behave. Emotions help us learn and create new memories. Without emotions, we couldn't make a decision between option A and option B. In future modules, you will learn about some techniques for mastering emotions, especially the negative ones like fear and panic. The pioneering work of Wim Hof, who uses breathing to activate the parasympathetic nervous system so people can control fear and accomplish tremendous physical feats, is also in some of the upcoming modules. There will also be a module on Freud's ideas of unconscious emotions, or the unconscious drives that explain human behavior according to Freud's theories. Know thyself is a saying that is attributed to Socrates, and it is inscribed on the walls of the temple at Delphi. But it was probably just a well-known saying of the time. Can you imagine with me for a moment what it would be like if we truly did know ourselves? Do you think that insight into our emotions and motivations can help us become more empathetic towards others? Do you think that men and boys could benefit from understanding their emotional life? Maybe violence against women at the hands of men and our prejudice against boys who show emotions might diminish? Mastery of emotions is the work of a lifetime. But that's no reason not to start today.